I want you to come over and we'll talk. I was like, okay. Bro, he gave me his address. Bro, I pull up to this mansion. I'm talking about, I had never seen a house this big in my life, bro.
Wow.
So I pull up and I'm like, okay. So then the gates open up, and I come in, I pull off to the side and I go to the front door. So I knock on the door. He opens the door. He's like, you can't come in the front door. Go around back. So I got to go down to the basement. He
Right.
made me walk around. And it was a long driveway, y'all. It was a long driveway. I walked all the way down the hill, about broke my neck walking down. So I finally get in the basement and he's like, so you want to learn technology? I was like, man, I do. So what he does is back in the day, for those that may not know, when you were in technology, like we didn't have all these courses. They sold these really thick books,
Okay, nice.
massive, massive books. One book was like this thick, right? And he was like, he set down four of those. And then he brought over a rack of HP servers, DL servers. I'm dating myself. Like way back, data center quality servers that had been recycled, and he had taken them home. And he was like, start here. Don't ask dumb questions, but start here. And that began a 4-year journey of me like learning, like hands on, really starting to put some things together, right? And obviously, I had some networking background from the high school classes that I had taken and some theory from the college course that I took. But under his guidance, he really shaped, really helped me move in the right direction, right? And, to this day, he's still like I call him my second dad. He's like my pops. Like, we've become really close. Eventually, y'all, I was able to come through the front door. I was able to go to some of the parties that he had and stuff like that. Oh, I was so on. Yeah, man. He actually helped me get my first job in IT, and he shaped my perspective in the sense of, hey, IT may not be necessarily be what you want to do forever, but once you find out your purpose, once you find out what it is you want to do, allow IT to be the vehicle that funds the vision.
Hmm.
And he gave me that, changed everything, bro.
Bro,
Changed everything.
that's powerful, man. I think there's like four key takeaways I got just from that. First of all, man, props to you. I mean, I think it's one thing to say do whatever it takes. You got to do what you got to do. It's another to actually live that. And I'm
Yep.
proud of you for doing that, man. And I think too, to your point, man, mentors are everything. I don't know anyone successful,
Mhm.
dead or alive, that's done it by themselves.
That's true.
And like we're all always one or two connections away from changing our lives. And so I think the fact that you were persistent, you were ready for that opportunity to come into your life, and you took advantage of it. I mean, dude, if someone told me don't ask dumb questions after giving me 4 books, I might have flaked afterwards. I'm not gonna lie. So props to you, man. And yeah, I think everyone needs a mentorship and championing in order to get somewhere. Like we all need that shot. Like we're
Hmm.
lucky to get that shot. There's a lot of people who don't even get that shot. Without that shot, you can't do anything.
For sure, man. Absolutely. No, it's important, man. And I think the thing about it, man, is you can't. And we were talking, beforehand about courses and things like that. There's something to be said about taking the shortcut to learn, right? And we can dive into that. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and yeah, having a mentor was invaluable for me. It probably cut probably a decade's worth of time on my journey, like out of me getting to where I am today. So yeah, for
Absolutely,
sure.
man. And I think too, I think nowadays, again, social media has its positives. To also think too, sometimes people just assume that you go from being a novice to an expert overnight.
Mhm.
And what people don't realize is the people, it's like Hormozy and stuff, they put the time in. Like this is decades of experience, losses, frustration, getting their licks, kicked and all that to be where they are today. I think people sometimes don't understand that and they can't contextualize that. Uh, so yeah,
You're absolutely right, man. And I think we live in a like microwave first mentality,
absolutely.
right? I want to pop in this quick, easy for me done method, and 30 seconds later, I'm on Instagram and I'm a millionaire. But that's what most people want to do, right?
Right.
It's unrealistic, man. It's unrealistic. So yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And so no, back to your point. use IT to fund your vision. Like that's super powerful because I think sometimes and it's super easy, man, to get caught up in where you currently are as your final destination, and that's not never the case. Or I can't say never, but like it's up to you to not let that be the case, right? And I think as long as you're consistent with whatever you're doing and you're willing to go through the rough patches that come with it, I really believe the sky's the limit for anyone.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
with that, man, I think so. You start your first IT job. What
Mhm.
was that, right? Because obviously, to me, I think when I think about when I first started my career, I think coming up in school, right?
Mhm.
There's a clear way to measure progress, right? And
Yeah.
for better or for worse, like if you're getting good grades, you're doing something right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
vice versa. And you get a lot of those feedback loops because of midterms, projects, and grades. And so when you go to work, right, the only real formal ways to measure progress, either hey, you either let go or you get promoted, like things happen, you get a new job, or there's very few clear ways to indicate that hey, I'm progressing, right? And so a lot of it's a mental thing and things like that. So I guess how did you navigate that? Because even for me, like going through college, like that was tough to adjust. How was that for you?
For like my first job, you mean?
Yeah, first, how are you like? How do I on the right track?
So I think that coming up in the game where when I was in that first role, it was a help desk job or like a help desk engineering role, level one engineering role. And it was for the government. And how I got that job, like I said, my mentor helped me, but it was one of those helps like, hey, here's the here's the way to go about it. I'll put in a word for you. The rest is up to you, right?